Hey everyone, Aladdin's Castle here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am bringing you guys another video. The Continentals for the Lorcana TCG is coming up on the January 9th through the 12th weekend in Anaheim, California, and we are trying to figure out which kinds of decks we are trying to play for the event. If you guys are still wondering, check out the series below in my playlist. I did a couple of decks already that you are going to see and expect to see in the top tables. Today I'm bringing you guys Ruby Sapphire, one of the tried and true decks, one of the best decks, if not the best control deck in the game. You can search for answers at pivotal moments of the game to find your outs, and it's always a deck to be prepared for, especially with the new tools that Azurite C brought. There are amazing players who pilot this deck, like Din Khan Pham, Santiago, and Hamza Khan. All had really great success with this color combination, so it's something to look out for. So today's deck is going to look a lot more like Din's list from the LCCC, the NA versus EU competition over the past month, with certain cards swapped out here or there. But there's a couple reasons why you should be playing red-blue this Continentals. The first one being that it has some of the best late-game cards in the game. You have cards like B-Prep, you have Sisu, you have Tamatoa to close out games. So it's really great when the game is going longer and you just top deck some amazing powerful cards, and you could kind of just remove whatever threat is on the board or gain incredible amounts of lore with Tamatoa. Second reason why you should be playing Ruby Sapphire is that it is really good against Evasive, Genie, and Diablo, which, like I've said in all my previous videos, are like the boogeyman of the set. So in addition to your B preps, you have cards like Brawl, Sisu, and Medusa, which could take out all of those cards. And then also, finally, it's really great against traditional Steel Song, Blue Steel, and it really has just fair matchup spread all across the board. So it's I think, a deck that you're going to see a lot of. It might be even the most played deck in NA. There's so many blue-red players, especially in the Chicagoland area, so you could expect to see that. Sorry guys, I had to restart that. We're going to go ahead and start off with the one-drop cards over here. And we're running 4 Popsicles. This is your draw engine. Pair this up with Hiram, and then you're just going to be drawing cards. No need to really explain what that card does. Next is Ice Block. Ice Block is so good in this meta. Ice Block plus Sisu obviously can get rid of so much removal in the game, and there's really two little cards in the game that can get rid of Ice Block, unless you're playing like Sapphire. So it's a really powerful card in this meta. And then I also ran 2 Vitalisphere. Vitalisphere kind of helps you trade up against those aggressive decks. Takes out Calhoun early game if you have like a Tipo out, and then just really takes out a lot of the 3 willpower characters. Gives something rush plus 2 strength, very powerful. I think you need it to keep up against the aggro cards early game. Then you're running some ramp cards. You got Tipo. Tipo's still in there because sometimes you want a body, especially against aggro decks, Amber Steel, Green Purple. You just want something out there that could contest against another card, just in case you could pump it up with Vitalisphere. So Tipo helps you ink. Another card that really helped red-blue this set is Sail to Azurite C. This is a new card from the latest set from Lorcana. You may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down and draw a card. So this helps you, along with Tipo, consistently ramp on turn 2 so that you get to your higher drops a lot more sooner. Then you also run 4 Vision of the Future. This card is so good because it could just get all your answers out later in the game, mid to game. It can get you some ink. Like, you look at the top 5 cards, put one of them to your hand, rest on the bottom. Sure, you may put like an important card to the bottom, but at least you're able to find the card that you need at that specific moment, and that could kind of help you stabilize. It could help you swing the tempo. It could help you remove something. Searching the top 5 is extremely strong in this game. I guess in any game too. On to the 3 costs. I run 3 human Sisus. Sisu has Evasive. It's a 1/1. Pair this up with Vitalisphere to take out some of the other evasive cards in the meta. But it's more importantly there to banish a chosen character with 1 strength or less. Combine this with Ice Block. You could take out like Piglets. You could take out a lot of like annoying cards that they want to keep ready and just in the meta. And just being able to double Ice Block something is even better. So Sisu is a card to get rid of the aggressive cards in the meta, like daisies and all that. Next, one of the best cards in the game right now is Brawl. Brawl is an action card that says banish chosen character with 2 strength or less. So this gets rid of, like I mentioned earlier, the problem cards like Diablo and Genie. This is like your main answer. This is so strong against those decks, and a lot of those matchups that are dependent on seeing those cards, like especially if they're maybe Emerald Steel and they're really relying hard on Diablo draw, they're just going to get punished through Brawl. Genie, if they just put out Genie and they think they could get away with him, you could just Brawl it his way too. But the whole point is that you have an answer, and people are going to pretty much fear this card because you are running Brawl. Onto the 4 costs. 4 Heroes, draw engine of blue for possibly forever until they pre-errata it like they pretended last time. Yeah, it's just banish an item, draw 2. Like, you can't get any better than that in Sapphire. Alright, onto the Spice. Goofy, Super Goofy. He's one of my favorite cards in the game. I just love his flavor text. I love like the character. I like how he's dressed up. He has Rush 2/4. This helps against like aggro plays as well, especially like Amber Steel aggro or Green Purple or something like that. Or if they're questing with Smee and then leave it up, you could kind of trade with it and gain lore. I know Din's running the Queen of Hearts for 2, so you could play a little bit earlier, but I'd rather ramp on turn 2 and then potentially play this on turn 3 for the next turn, and gain lore and have a body out of it, so that's pretty cool. And then he could also be healed by another card, which is later on. He's a 2/4 body, which can get difficult to remove against certain matchups. And then I am running 2 Grammatala. She is pretty much there to help you cycle through your cards, look at the top 2. 3/3, it's a solid body, so you could just crash into a lot of cards too as well. Makes the trade value even worth it. A card that I think not a lot of Red Blue players are running, maybe at the moment, is McDuck Manor. I kind of geared this deck a little bit more to have a better matchup against the mirror, because I feel like, especially at the Continentals, there will be a large number of blue-red, and that's why I put cards like Goofy that are a little bit more lower to the ground to gain some lore while I'm at it, and then McDuck Manor, which could also gain some lore as well. So it's historically a little bit harder for the control decks to get rid of some of these locations. It's also good against like Amber Steel if they don't have like a lot of ways to get rid of it, or even Emerald Steel, which is super tough for them to challenge locations. So it's a great way to earn some passive lore and put pressure onto the table. Next is Baymax, another fan favorite of mine. I like this card a lot. It's a 2/6, so yes, it could die against like Ruby decks, but it's mainly there for the effect. When you play this character and whenever you quest, you may remove up to 2 damage from another chosen character of yours, gain 1 lore for each damage removed this way. So if you have a character out early and they have some pretty strong health, you could play this next turn, heal 2, and gain 2 lore. But what I like playing with Baymax is combining this with Super Goofy, because Super Goofy could pretty much challenge into, say, like a low health character like a Cinderella that's turned sideways because of singing songs, or something that has like 2 willpower, 3 willpower, and you just crash into it, gain 2 lore, play Baymax next turn, gain another 2 lore for healing, or doing it the other way around, have a Goofy, then play Baymax, challenge something, and then questing. So it's a cute little combo, but I think it's something that people don't expect. And because you're not running like traditional like Lucky Dime shenanigans in this build, you need other ways to gain lore. So that's why I ran McDuck Manors, Goofies, and Baymax for that alternative win condition. And I do like decks like that which can win through alternate means, and that kind of also adds another layer of strategy to your deck. And also for your opponent who's playing against it, they have to figure out, like, man, I can't be challenging everything because then Baymax will be healing 2. So you're going to have to figure out ways to get rid of a 6 willpower body, unless you're against Ruby. But it's very strong, it synergizes well, it takes a little bit of setup, but not too much, but it pairs nicely with Super Goof. Next, I run 1 Let It Go for the Spice. It gets rid of like those really sticky cards, 7-drop Cinderella. You also have cards like Tamatoa in the mirror match. You even have stuff like Maui Shark, which you have to like respect. So you have to like you have to respect. Next, running 3 Medusas. Medusa's really strong this meta. Just like Brawl is very similar to the effect, where it just gets rid of genies, gets rid of Diablos, just gets rid of any problem cards, Calhouns. A lot of characters in the game have that 3 strength or less power, and you need some ways to get rid of it. And Medusa is your answer. And then next, I am running a one of Maui Half Shark, just for attack. Some people run 2, some people run 1, or even none. But he's mostly there to gain that extra lore as well. In addition to all my other cards that gain alternative lore. Has Evasive, so it's a big body, 7/5. Quest for 1, but it's mostly there for the challenge ability. Whenever this character challenges another character, you may turn an action card from your discard to your hand. So I think I'm running like 16 to 18 action cards, and when you play the action, you could gain a lore. So you can bring back your other cards that you used early on. There's so many: Sail to draw more cards, Visions to look for your answers, more Be Prepared. So there's a lot of ways. Then I also ran 2 Pirate's Life. I like this card a lot right now just because there's a lot of games where it kind of comes down to the wire, where you guys are really close in lore, especially those really slow control builds. If you're going against a mirror match, if you're going against Ruby Amethyst, or even if you're going against an aggro deck like Green Purple, you could play this, sing it with Medusa, and then play something else also on top of that, and you could kind of maybe stall another turn. Your opponent loses 2 lore, you gain 2 lore. That's a nice way to buy you some extra time. And again, singing with it is really cool, and then bringing it back with Maui Shark is even better. Then your removal, Ruby, got to run some Be Prepareds. There's different ratios, of course, that everybody's running, but I think 3 is a fair number. I think 4 is a little too much in this meta. I think the meta is a little bit fast, so you don't want to see too many of these early on. You don't want to draw into too many of them, so I think 3 is the perfect number. Wipe the board, great against wide decks, Amber Steel, anything that's real sticky, especially like ward decks too. And then rounding off, you got your big boss cards. You got Tamatoa. He's always been like the main character at the very end of the game. If you could quest for 3, 4, 5 lore plus, and kind of seal the game from there, he's your guy. So he is the main character that also gets back your items if you need to reuse them. And then I opted for 3 Sisu. Big Sisu also wipes out certain matchups. People are still playing like Emerald Amber out there that could get rid of their whole board. If they're running like just wide aggro, Amber Steel. There's a lot of decks that, paired with like Ice Block and all that, this card could just kind of swing the tempo in your favor. Quest for 3, very powerful, so it's another great closer for the deck. But yeah, that's pretty much the main idea. Like, it's pretty much a very similar shell that a lot of people run. It might have some bad matchups, like, you know, the really aggressive decks like Amber Steel aggro that, you know, players like Boomy Jr., Bivens, or DeCandio has kind of ran recently. Maybe an aggressive green-purple deck as well, if they're able to just establish, you know, maybe Bonsais or just a whole bunch of like White Rose and Goats and stuff. But basically, if you are a control player at heart and you're looking for a deck that, you know, you want to get there at Continentals, I think Ruby Sapphire is one of the best options to take you far in the tournament. Not necessarily the exact build that I have with Super Goofy and McDuck Manor, but you could kind of follow all the other templates that all the other big names have been using and had a lot of success with, and you could do pretty much fine with it. But yeah, if you guys want to try this deck out, you got some spicy tech in there to catch people off guard while still keeping the red-blue shell. Definitely advise you to try it out, and wish you luck to those who are going to Continentals. See you guys in the next video.